center of the room, of the room. But we're still in bloom, still in bloom. Creatures of habit, you think we're mad at it, but we keep picking up that yo-yo, yo-yo, selling us the dream, just playing out these scenes, back and forth we go, 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 go. I wanna know more than just the show. What's behind the curtain? The secrets of the serpent were rinsed away, rinsed away. History betrayed, stories made. Creatures of habit, you think we're mad at it, but we keep picking up that yo-yo, yo-yo, selling us the dream, just playing out these scenes, back and forth we go, 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 go. I wanna know more than just the show. Creatures of habit. You think we're mad at it? Lost in the wires, bought and sold for desires, paid the toll on our souls. Hand of control, black as coal. Creatures of habit, you think we're mad at it, but we keep picking up that yo-yo, yo-yo, selling us the dream, just playing out these scenes, back and forth we go, 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 go. Creatures of habit, you think we're mad at it, but we keep picking up that yo-yo, yo-yo, selling us the dream, just playing out these scenes, back and forth we go, 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 go. I wanna know more than just the show.
So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Nadia, could you tell us how you pronounce your last name? Nadia Vaeh?
Vaeh.
But Vaeh.
Yes. It's like the end of the name Nadia.
Well, welcome, Nadia. So happy that you're here on the podcast. And hello, Kylie. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here. How you been, Chris?
I'm doing very well. Really appreciate it that we're both here and safely, and glad we're congregating together. So, Nadia, can you tell the audience who you are? Who is Nadia Vaeh? Sorry, I called you Natalie accidentally. Go ahead.
No worries. So I am a pop rock artist based in America or in Atlanta, and I make this kind of pop rock with a bratty twist. And I like to have fun with subject matters ranging from anxiety, body dysmorphia, relationship struggles. I like to just talk about all the various things that many of us go through, and music. It's literally why I'm here on this planet, and I'm happy to be here chatting with you guys about it.
We appreciate it because we like to get to know our musicians and find out all about them and hear about their music. And we always go to their YouTube channel, listen to all the songs, and we always like them and comment if we can.
Thank you so much for supporting and the kind words.
Oh, definitely. I love to support all my musicians and all the people that are on the platforms. Kylie, did you want to ask the first question?
Sure. So, I know we like talked about this on my own podcast and Instagram series, Nadia, but you recently came out with a single called "Promise Not to Kill You," which is absolutely one of my favorite songs on the planet. I love it so much. And like, how did you come up with that song? Like, I know we kind of talked about this a little bit a couple weeks back, but it's like in case they didn't listen or people are never listening to podcast episodes or anything. Like, what is it about the song about?
So that's actually 3 years, about 3 years in the making. I started it at the top of pandemic, and I remember kind of feeling, or I guess maybe almost 4 years now. Where are we on the timeline? No, but I remember starting writing it at the top of pandemic, and just feeling kind of like alone, like lonely, and like I really wanted to call her, just we weren't aligned on our goals, like just things were not meshing. And I remember thinking like, I want a partnership where like still try to find a way to make it spicy, you know. And that's where the whole like theme of promise not to kill you came in. It's like, okay, like we're gonna fight through this, we're gonna work it out. And sure enough, like actually shortly after I wrote the song, like I did end up kind of initiating my partnership that I have now with my man Tyler, and we definitely have found wonderful ways to problem solve and work through our issues, and drive each other mad. Especially if you're living with somebody in close quarters, they're gonna get under your skin sometimes.
So true.
That's definitely how it. Yeah, I'm sure you're like your siblings or your mom and dad. You're just like, oh my god, not again.
Yeah. A million times yes. A million times yes.
Well,
Every
you know,
single day I
Nadia.
deal with that with my brother personally, so I get it.
Yeah, your songs certainly tell a story because you got leap of faith. So it's like leap of faith, never leave the basement, and promise not to kill you.
Leap of faith. I'm
Isn't that
learning.
interesting?
I definitely like to, you know, spark the curiosity with those titles.
Yeah, yeah, love them. Love those songs.
Thank you.
Is there ever a chance that music wasn't your choice, that maybe you wanted to go in a different direction when you were younger?
When I was little, I was always really drawn to music, and like even as a kid, like just like making sounds. Like I was always a very sonically driven person. I definitely would consider myself an audio learner. Like in school, like my mom was like, listen, she's musical. She's actually really good at retaining information if you put it in a song. And then I remembered it. So I was always very, very much in need of that form of communication and processing. And like that's why I love songwriting, because it helps me work through a lot of things and understand the world and myself and other people. But I was in fashion for and aesthetics. So that was a cool path for a little bit, but it wasn't as fulfilling as music is. So I did have to step away and find myself back in music, and I'm really glad I did.
So, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I do always tell people if I wasn't in music, I would probably explore being a holistic doctor, or I'm very into herbs and studying how they interact with the body and all that. It's random, but
That is so amazing, Nadia, because in December there was some sort of medical issue I had, and I knew I had to change my diet, so I went full keto, and I started watching the Dr. Eric Berg and Dr. Sten Ekberg, who's a holistic doctor, and cut down on sugar, and I lost like almost 30 pounds in like 3 months, and I feel good. I feel excellent, and I'm glad I did that, because you could have a stroke or a heart attack, all the salt and sugar that you eat, and I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Sten Ekberg, but he's a holistic doctor. He's on YouTube, and he actually helped me with a few things. So holistic doctor, yeah, you could have gotten into nutrition, but then you would have sung your way to patient's heart.
But yeah, I think I need to look into that doctor. it's fascinating, like plant medicine and just how we can rewire our bodies through what we put into them. So congrats on taking the right steps for your health, and like glad you're doing well and
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, Chris. I remember you telling me that. It's actually amazing.
Yeah. January 5th, I weighed 223, almost 230. And then today I weigh, ready? 196.
Ooh,
that's awesome.
sweet.
And that's hard. That takes
Yeah.
it's hard to readjust your
Yeah.
habits and things like that. So
Well, you have to make these changes, right? If
Congratulations.
you want to live, you know.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So, really love your music, and yeah, it sort of you remind me of what Pat Benatar. Sort of, you have the same sort of voice as hers, or even Alanis at some point. But you
Thank
know,
you. Those are two queens. I'm honored. I love them both.
yeah. So you have a conscious narrative flipping songwriter and performances. So what's your songwriting process like? Some musicians say they start with the lyrics first, others say to do music first, others write both. What is your process like? What do you do? How do you come up with a song?
It depends. Usually lyrics are first for me. I definitely am more word oriented. Every once in a while I will have a melody that just won't leave me alone, and I'm like, okay, I guess this is the next song. But yeah, usually it's lyrics first.
Yeah. Is it like you wake up in the morning and like I notice that I know it's like leap of faith, don't leave the basement. I'm gonna kill you, whatever. You didn't do it on purpose. It's just that there's like, how do you find the titles in your songs? Like when you write the title, at the end of the song, at the beginning of the song, do you write the title and then write a lyric and music around it?
Some of
I
them
think
have
it-
started at the beginning with the title. Like I'll just be like, I feel like the song is going to be called Promise Not to Kill You. Or like a song will arrive at its naming point after it's all said and done. The chorus is written, or even like midway through it, I'll have the chorus. Sometimes because of where that hits in the chorus, like, so it's all over the map how I arrive on these names. But for a while I was like, I only want to do one word song titles, and then I ended up switching that up and just winding up with these like kind of like question mark song titles, and I think that's like more fun.
What do you think of that, Kylie? She loves even writing poetry as well. What about you? Like, how do you what do you think about that?
I think that's amazing. Like, I think if I was a singer-songwriter, I'd probably do the exact same thing, honestly. Like I don't think like for me, like I think like we're coming like with the question titles. I think they'll probably come after, well, probably depending on a song. But like when I like was writing things for my book, I figured my name, the title of the book, right before I even started writing it. So it's obviously different for everybody. But like when I started writing, the name came first before I even started writing. So it's obviously different for everyone, but I love like your process, Nadia, of how you figured that out.
Yeah, sometimes you just know, and then other times you gotta let it work itself out.
For sure.
Do you struggle with a lot of lyrics, or do you know the lyrics you're gonna write? Like, there's lyrical poetry, like rap, and then there's speaking word, and then there's I write poems, and I thought I'd put a music behind it, but I'm not a songwriter. You know, I'm the one that interviews songwriters, and I love to hear what their impressions are and what they do and how they work. And it's very interesting that's how you write a song. What inspires you? Like, what would inspire you? What inspired you to write "I Promise Not to Kill You"?
So I definitely was feeling like the loneliness and in pandemic, and I really supportive energy partnership, which is, it's kind of ironic because the song's called Promise Not to Kill You, but I wanted to find a partnership where, you know, the ebbs and flows of life didn't impact the stability of the relationship. And I feel like that helps call that in so many different crevices of life. Like when it comes to my song, like Never Leave the Basement, I was having a really hard time getting out into the world, and I was having a lot of social anxiety. I didn't feel safe going out of my house. I didn't, with social anxiety prior to pandemic, and it just made it worse. So my inspiration can come from all kinds of different experiences. Leap of Faith is one of those songs that I just felt like I had to write in the moment. You asked about sometimes lyrics kind of flow out or difficult to write. I feel like Leap of Faith was one of those songs that just kind of wrote itself. It just happened because it was like life or death, and I had to like express this thing. And I had been self-sabotaging a lot in my dreams, and I had reached a point where I was at capacity, and I was getting myself out of the full cake, if you will. So yeah, it really depends. It's all over the map. Like I could end up being inspired by something you say later on this podcast, and I write a whole song about it, So it's weird.
That is amazing. Wow, I love hearing that. Kylie, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, like I like what you said, Nadia, because like I literally kind of dealt with the same like thing. Like I had so much before the pandemic, I had so much social anxiety, and like I know like kind of discussed this in my podcast a bit, but like growing up, I had so much anxiety talking to people. But then like even like during the pandemic, I had so much social anxiety, even though I hung out with my friends a lot. Like during the pandemic and before the pandemic, I had so much kind of time to hang out with friends and family, even though I had social anxiety. And like that's kind of like the example like that I'm glad you said it, because like even when I do a podcast interview or something, sometimes I can be like, oh, I'm having social anxiety right now, even though I might talk so much in an interview or something. It might in a moment I think myself like, oh, I'm having so much social anxiety, even though I love talking. It might just seem like, oh, I think I might be experiencing social anxiety in this moment.
Yeah. And it's one of those things too, like it's a silent disorder that a lot of people have, I think. And sometimes I guarantee I've been at events and people just think I'm mean or something because I'm so uncomfortable and I feel so anxious that I have a hard time talking or communicating. And they probably get the wrong idea about me. But and I think that's why the awareness, like spreading the awareness that social anxiety is a disorder that many people silently struggle with, is so important, because might come across as like reserved, and you connotate that as them being short or rude. Like that just means that they're having some sort of internal struggle most of the time, I found, and don't take it personally, So
that's so true. I have kind of experienced that as well. Like I always like think like when I'm at social events, they're like, oh my god, why is she not talking? But then like that's like a disorder not only me that's struggling with still at 16 years old, but people that are older than me are struggling with this as well. 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, no matter how you are, you still kind of struggle with it, even though you might be over it. Even with a podcast, like it's not as bad, like because I'm like over it. But then, like even if I do have a podcast, like I'm still not over it. Like I'm still not ending my social anxiety just because it's still gonna be part of me. Like
Yeah, there are people with anxiety and oh, sorry, Nadia, I didn't mean to be rude. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just gonna say, I think that it's also really good to just put yourself out there.
Yeah. I mentioned her name earlier, but there's many musicians who struggle with substance abuse, and a lot of them probably do call the 1-800-662 helpline. You're not going to believe this, but not only is Alanis Morissette, she's got a mental illness as well, like anxiety, but also Adele and Billie Eilish are Adele opened up about her postpartum depression, and Alanis Morissette, after welcoming her third child, she opened up about her struggle with postpartum depression for Alanis. So everyone has certain like anxiety or whatever, and they have to deal with it. And with me, it was like singing in front of large numbers. I could only do it maybe 80, 82, maybe 90 people, and then after that, I'm just kind of like unconfident. So I don't want, like, the first time I had the microphone in my hand was shaking like this, like I had Parkinson's. And then eventually it got to a point where I could grab a mic and just, rock the mic in front of all these people at a karaoke, and people going, whoa, But we all struggle with something.
Yeah,
Um,
important to remember.
yeah. So so your mother, you think you inherited your lifelong love of poetry from your mother. Can you share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, she was a very wonderful writer and word craft. She's so good with words. Kind of would teach me different styles of poetry, and from there I kind of took what she bestowed on me, and I started dissecting like the songwriting pamphlets. When you compared me to Alanis Morissette, that made me so happy, because I remember being in my room and studying Alanis Morissette lyrics, and I always felt like her stuff was just so prolific. And turned these poems into songs and started writing songs.
Yeah, it's tragic when we hear about what happened to your mom, and that must have, did that bring you down to a downward spiral, and how did you get out of that?
Yeah, I would say for many, many years, associate from life. I was making choices. I eventually did find my way back to music, though, and it's interesting because I feel like she kind of guided me. Like, she saw me on this bad path, and I'm very spiritual, and I've felt her kind of open up a lot for me in my life, and through lots of different misadventures, I feel like she guided me back to music, and now I'm kind of like living out this artistic dream in a lot of ways, which I think is why her mental health did suffer. But we're very lucky, especially like our generation, Kylie, like there is more room for expression.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think it's kind of cool to be able to like live on and kind of carry out her work in a way. Like, I still feel like we can share. So
Yeah, but sometimes you're thinking, oh, I wish she was here to watch me perform or watch me how successful I am. She'd be really proud. Even with my dad, I lost my dad 20 years ago, my mom 30 years ago this July. And sometimes you wish you could pick up the phone and call your parents, like, Kylie, you have a chance, like, because your parents are still around. That I love to have picked up the phone and say, like, I had a squabble with my boss the other day, and I like to pick up the phone and said, yeah, Dad, I had a squabble with my boss, and he had some really good advice to give me. So
yeah.
stuff like that, and I'm so sorry that that had to happen to you, but you still have that smile on your face. You're able to perform. Um, I'd like to learn. Sorry, Kylie, did you have anything you wanted to add to that? How do you deal with
Um,
anxiety? What was your secret, or is your secret?
well, I kind of at first, like, I always wanted Nadia's, and I'll answer your question. But like when I lost my grandmother back in 2017, my great grandmother, I remember dealing with so much anxiety during that time because I was so close to my grandmother, and I just remember going through such kind of like a heartbreak. Like, I don't know kind of how to explain it, but it's like when you lose someone that you love so much and that you were so close to. Like, I just remember when I would visit her house doing cartwheels in her living room in front of her to make her laugh, or visiting her in the hospital, or this general things like that. Like, it's sometimes like when I do, like, even with podcasting, like when I started my podcast and doing all these things, like sometimes I wish I can just pick up the phone and call her and be like, "Hey, I got this email today saying I can be on this TV show or something." They just call her and say news, and that's kind of like how. No, that's the thing I kind of miss the most in life with her not here. It's like I can't share the exciting news, and I don't see her in a crowd when I do things, or see her as a supporter in life as I grow as a person and as I like do my career. That's the thing I really miss the most as she's not here. And like as to go back on your question, Chris, like with anxiety, there's so many things like I control my like that help me kind of control my anxiety. Like some things don't work, some things I don't know what to do. Anxiety is like anxiety can be different for everyone. But like with me, like I love to read. I love to read every single day. Take time every single day to read or meditate. I love to meditate as well. My mom and my sister introduced me to that. I was always very against it until like a year or two ago, so I got into that a little bit. But or just take a walk. Like even if it's cold, say it was like 60 degrees in my neighborhood, so I took a walk today. I usually take a walk for about an hour each day, even if it's not cold or rainy or anything. I usually go on a walk for an hour each day because I live in like a neighborhood, like a development type of area. So I like to walk around for an hour. Like this things like small things like that. Because like when I take a walk or meditate or read a book, it's just kind of like removes what you're going through that day or the last couple of weeks and the stress and just kind of make sure like everything's okay. Like let's kind of take a downfall and just relax and breathe for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it's amazing how much a reset like that it works wonders.
Yeah.
It really does.
For me, taking a walk and listening to music and singing. I have several books I'm reading, and but still, you want to be around people. Like for me, the pandemic is sometimes you're really lonely, and then when you're going outside, you're walking around, you feel you're the only one on the planet because there's nobody wanted to leave their houses, leave their apartments, whatever, because of the pandemic. They thought that walking out, they were going to get that nasty virus, and we survived it. I mean, I'm not saying it's over. I'm just saying that we survived it. Everything's open. We're all now. The malls were totally dead during that. It was almost like I said, like zombie apocalypse because there's nobody in that mall except security. You couldn't get in without showing your passports or security. Now everything is sort of opening up, and people are still wearing masks, but it's interesting. But at least you continue with your music, Nadia. That's good because these songs certainly have good lyrics to lean by. And then you have the 3-part EP series entitled "My Face Hurts."
Coming up.
Yeah,
Mhm.
coming
Yes,
up.
I'm very excited to start sharing those songs. It's a series of songs that really tap in on a lot of the mental health struggles that we go through as a collective. And oftentimes in mental health, it's behind how we actually are, what we're dealing with, behind this, smile. And it can get to be where it's really painful and you feel like you can't really express your truth. Maybe you have like one or two close people, but it's it taps into talking about anxiety. I struggled with over the years, people pleasing, and it's made me miserable. It's ruined my life. It's ruined which I believe is something that men and women experience, and especially in the social media day and age, because we're inundated with so many imagery, so much imagery and products, and it's just like so hard to like actually feel rooted in your body. And just a lot of the mental health stuff that we deal with. So I think it's going to be very cathartic.
It happens. The internet kind of like sucks in urine, I think.
Yeah, I actually really do need to upgrade my internet. I think should I try to get on my phone?
No, that's fine. You're
Okay.
fine where you are. Don't worry about it. Kylie, do you have anything else to add to that? You had another
I
question
think
for, I
it
think.
fitted everything, honestly. Like I think I don't have anything to add. I'm honestly so excited for the new album. I'm so excited for new music.
I can't wait. Thank you.
Yeah.
You
Can't
already
wait.
know I'm going to be the first listener, Nadia. You already know.
So
My
happy about
people.
that, Nadia. So happy for you that you're releasing music and just enjoying and just doing what you enjoy. Um, I was I was finding out that you were actually an actress in The Mind's Eye. That was the music for the TV series in one episode. Can you tell us
Yeah.
how you
Sorry.
Can you tell us how you landed that one?
So actually, there's a friend of mine who kind of made a little documentary series on different artists, and we kind of went over and it was a cool little documentary. His parents are based in Canada, and I met him at an event in South Carolina, and just kind of a fun little opportunity.
Yeah. Decades Apart, the Noir Cut, title music short, and one called Dinner for One was another short. What do you enjoy? Do you enjoy acting, or do you just enjoy singing, or do you enjoy doing both? Or?
But I do love crafting the music videos to like I've thought about doing acting as well, but maybe later. Maybe in like a later stage of my career, I'll like what was that one? Oh man, I just blanked. As far as there we go.
Yeah, that's excellent. So when you put on a show, do you have any pre-show rituals? What do you do to perform? Do you like going around going blah 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 blah, and just do some jogging on this stuff
Yeah.
like that? Yeah.
I do some weird things just because you do kind of have to get like comfortable being weird on stage because you kind of have to be a little larger than life.
Yeah.
So, places to like loosen up and all that. But I teach some yoga, It's fun. I actually I want to film a day in the life at my next show to kind of let people know what happens behind the scenes. So I will be doing that for my next show.
Yeah, you
Yeah, why
definitely
not?
should. I would definitely watch, yeah, for sure. I
Me
definitely
too.
want to see what your day in the life is like. Because if people always like, it seems like my day in the life is actually kind of boring. Unless like I'm doing like a concert or something, then it's actually pretty fun. But unless like something interesting is happening that day.
Yeah, my average day in the life, not that interesting. I eat a Pop-Tart in the morning. I have a banana. I'm actually eating my banana late today. But, nothing too crazy. But on the show days, we get crazy.
Yeah, like whenever I'm like during the life and I have interviews or something, I'm like, but if I'm like working at like for my job, if I'm working at a baseball game or something, or going to a concert or there's like dancing recitals or something. I have a recital coming up in June. So it's like if I do those type of things and record those type of things, I'm like, okay, that might actually be fun to watch. Like I need to film something that I actually think like I might want to watch. Like film things that I actually think I like, and these people might actually connect like with what I actually like to watch.
You should do a day in the life. What kind of dance do you do, by the way?
I just actually started I do this like charity organization. It's a charity thing that raises kind of money for different organizations in my neighborhood, like around like my area, Northeast PA and stuff. So like this organization, like we're having this recital down in June, and this organization that I'm starting with, I have my first dance class on Thursday for the event. And I'm super excited, and yeah, just like the chance to dance is the organization, and basically be helping dance with them for a 2-day event and stuff for them, and it's basically about raising money for different parts and businesses in my area, basically.
That sounds so fun. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, do any of you know how to do that that new Shakira dance? It's from
Oh,
the
I never even
BK.
watched it.
I haven't seen it.
It's that excellent one that she did called the BKP sessions or whatever, and everyone's doing this dancing on TikTok and stuff, and there's always dancing for every sort of, yeah. It's like really interesting. Everyone likes to dance. And I seen you
That's
dance
actually
too.
true. That's actually so true. Like, I literally dance wherever I go in public or just in my room. I always dance to any song. Or if it's like when I'm listening to Janet Jackson or somebody that has good music and that has great kind of tone or something, then I'll be like dancing, doing homework or something. I'll be like dancing in every situation I do when I'm listening to music.
Can't help it.
It's just something you cannot control, honestly.
Yeah. And if it's very hot in the, like, for instance, July is very hot, and there are hot days usually here, like 90, 95. For 1 week in July, you got these really hot days. And when it starts to rain one of those days, you walk out and just dance in the rain because, people want to cool down by just getting wet because that rains. It's just so hot out there. You ever thought of doing that, Kylie, going out in the rain and just dancing
Yeah.
and singing
But
in the
I
rain?
actually
And,
like, remember going on one time on a walk, and I remember it just started pouring. I was just like dancing and running back to my house in the rain. And I was like absolutely soaked.
oh, yeah. I remember doing
And
that
I
too. It's
was
like,
literally when I went on my walk today because it was 60 degrees out, and like when I was walking, and I was literally had music, earphones in my ear, just jamming out to Keith Urban. Because Keith Urban's my favorite singer, so I'm always like when I pull up a Keith Urban song in my on my phone or something, I'm always dancing. And if
well,
someone
Nadia,
asks me why I'm dancing or what I'm listening to, it's always Keith Urban, always.
yeah.
Go
Well,
to.
Nadia, when you're talking about when I'm talking about pre-show rituals, from one singer to another, I noticed that don't eat pizza before you sing because you got this really terrible phlegm sort of thing happening in your throat because of the cheese, right?
Yeah,
And
I
I've
can't
learned,
eat pizza on show days till after the show.
like, yeah, have the pizza after the show. I've learned that one. Um, what do you think has been your biggest career highlight so far?
I would say one of my most favorite recent things of my things of recent times would be the show that I just recently did at the Masquerade in Atlanta, opening for Tilly. It was really cool to open for an artist that's a little further along in their career, and also to like have it be in my hometown. It was really cool to just have that like energy and that support. It was like one of the best crowds I've ever performed for.
Hannah, that's my cat now.
And you played
Oh
in
my
New York City
gosh!
recently, right?
Hannah,
My
come here.
cat is right down here. They should meet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Come here, Hannah. Everyone wants to see Hannah. She's actually been on screen several times. And it seems that almost most of the musicians that I have actually have a pet of some sort. One has 2 dogs that I interviewed the other day. What's your cat's name?
Tiago.
Oh, Ti amo. Mine's Hannah. Hannah, come here. Everyone, come here. Yeah, she knows not to bother me doing a podcast, right, Hannah? And she's turning 9 this year.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
love little
Oh.
fur babies. I'm such a sucker for cats. Like our cat actually showed up on the doorstep right after my birthday last year.
Oh,
So I
really?
was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna be a cat lady now.
Well, let me introduce you to Hannah. Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh my gosh.
It doesn't seem like the cat wants to come around.
This is Hannah. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Hannah. Oh my gosh, she's so pretty.
She's so
It's
cute.
Hannah. Hannah, look.
Her eyes are so green.
I know. I was about to say the exact same thing.
So pretty.
Yep, 8 years old in July. She'll be 9 years old, right? Are you old, a cat? Hi.
Aw.
Okay, bye. So there you go. And everything just fell around here. Yes. So now we talked about your greatest highlight of your career so far. So who would you like to collaborate with most? Who would you like to you get a call from them and say, listen, Nadia, we'd like you to collaborate with?
I would say for a mainstream artist that's made it, Pink. I love Pink. I feel like she has a song for everything and everyone. She performs is also like very inclusive. She's just a very inclusive person. And I really admire her artistry and her voice and her hustle.
Yeah, there's a lot of talented people out there. We got one on the platform here, and another one on a platform here, and a totally different. Like, Kylie does the woman empowerment, so it's good to have her on your side. We don't have anybody of men empowerment. I'm surprised about that, but oh well. Men are wimps, I think. um, I don't know if I should delete that. Maybe I'll delete that part. And the one about fighting
I
with
think you
my
should
boss.
keep it, honestly.
Well, when I talked about how I had a little issue with my boss the other day, I was reading about Nadia, about your dad. I think was from Lebanon. He is actually born in Lebanon. So
Oh, wow. That's cool that we both have that background.
not my background, but my boss is Lebanese. So
Oh, okay. Well, that
I'm
can I was gonna say, that can be kind of challenging. The Lebanese are very like.
oh yes, believe it. Like, yeah, you people. Just joking. Yeah. But my father was born in Curacao in the Netherlands, and my mom was born in Budapest. So I'm part Hungarian, part Dutch. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I actually spent. Did you know that I spent a lot of time in Curacao?
You
Oh,
were in
really?
Curacao?
I
Wow.
spent a ton of my life in Curacao.
Wow.
I actually, my aunt and uncle lived there. I was actually going to go to school there. But
Really?
I grew up going there for 13 years of my life. Every summer, sometimes even twice a year for Christmas. And I was
Wow.
yeah, I know the island very well. I've driven there, like.
Oh, really?
Oh my
Because
god,
I'm
that's
planning to go there
insane.
to commemorate. Yeah, I want to go to Curacao and then go over. I was in Holland and Belgium years ago, and then Paris, France, and a little place called Eindhoven, which is between Belgium and Holland, I think. But I know people in Holland, so yeah. Wow, that's a
Have you
lot.
been to Curacao?
I haven't been Curacao yet, but I want to go
I will
this year
send you.
sometime.
Okay, when you are planning your trip, please let me know, and I will send you to some really wonderful places that you have to check out.
Yes, yes. It's probably going to be this summer. Yeah, send me something. I love it.
Yeah, awesome.
Yay.
Mhm.
Um, Kylie, did you have any more questions?
Um, do you like? I just have one more to ask, but do you like have any upcoming gigs or any upcoming music that you're gonna be releasing, or anything fun announcements coming or anything?
Yes, so I'm getting ready to play in Anaheim, California. So NAM is like this really big companies come and represent. And I'm performing at the Sheridan stage in April, on
Oh,
April
okay.
12th, I believe. And then I'm also performing at another showcase in LA the next week on the 18th. And then I'm getting ready to release a remix of Promise Not to Kill You with a progressive house remix. It has a really fun, like European style, very dancey, and Lizzo's Truth Hurts. And then the originals will be coming out. So it's a little bit of wait time till the originals, but I promise it's worth it.
I
I'm
remember
making
you
some
telling
very.
me about the Truth Hurts with Lizzo. I need to collab for that one.
Yes, it's very fun. It's very pop rock. It's a very different take on that song. So I think you're gonna love it. But
For sure.
That's amazing. Wow. Um, what song from your current album is your personal favorite?
off the one that I'm getting ready to release, you think?
Yeah, do you have a personal favorite from there?
From the ones that are not out yet, I would say my song Opposite Day. But also I really like enjoy the subject matter and for being a people pleaser, essentially.
Well, that would be kind of like an interesting when you mentioned that you like to collaborate with Pink. That would be an interesting mix right there. I mean, like her her music and your music, you'd have to come up with a music that's like, I don't think it might work.
I think it
I
could
would
work.
it could work, yeah. I would probably pair you up. No, who would I pair you? I think I would pair you up with Alanis, of course. Um, and possibility. Have you ever heard of Cyrena Ryder?
I'm not familiar with her work.
Cyrena Ryder is a Canadian artist, and she's the artist that wears a hat all the time during her song. But my family and I went to see her in concert in Toronto, and she's pretty good. It's Cyrena, like Syrena. People say Serena Ryder, but it's Cyrena Ryder, and she's pretty good. Canadian artist. I mentioned to Kylie about Gordon Lightfoot, and he wrote the song "Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald," and he's got family members who are in the music field too. But it's sort of like if someone came up to you and said, Nadia, I want to do what you're doing. What is solid advice that you would give to an aspiring musician?
Out there aspiring to do anything against the grain, whether it's music, entrepreneurial, creating a product, getting it out there. Like, I would say the best thing that you can do is put yourself out there, whether that's going to a networking event, sharing a song, just kind of like testing the. I remember when I first began my career, I was producing music that I wasn't super proud of. I just went ahead and put it out anyway. And that's what led me to the pathway of building the team that I have now that understands my vision and what I want to make. And had I not just been vulnerable and been in the found comfort in the discomfort, I wouldn't have made it here today. So do the thing. Just do the thing.
Do the thing. Yeah. Definitely. Totally agree with you. Was there ever a time in your life that you just wanted to just give up?
Yes. And still it happens every once in a while where I'm just like, this is so hard. I just need to go be an accountant. And I wake up to the reality that that's not my path. And, I get back into the groove with things, and I, find my flow again. But it's more, it requires a lot more patience. So I have moments where I just like, I'm gonna quit, and luckily I have wonderful support around me that helps me remember like the reason why I started doing this, because that's what keeps me going. It's like, oh yeah, that feeling of like the release of writing the song and sharing the song and having that song tap in with this person's issue with this, and it's just about getting back to the roots.
Yeah, and I'll support your music as well, and Kylie will support you as well. We want to make sure that that 15, 20 years from now, people know who Nadia Vaeh is. Get your name out there. So a few more questions we will ask. One is that how do you feel about the music in general? Like, how do you feel that? Do you think the internet has ruined music? Artificial intelligence has ruined music? Has it made it better? You feel you can't, if you came out in the 80s, you probably could sell millions of 45s, but now it's just so, like many musicians have told me, it's so difficult to make money on music. How do you feel about that?
I definitely think we're presented with a lot more challenges this day and age. I don't think that it's necessarily ruined it. I do believe that it has given us a lot of abilities to connect with people who we otherwise wouldn't connect with. Like, I love that I'm able to sit and have conversations with two people from two totally different parts of the world that I otherwise would probably not get to connect with. And it does kind of give the artist a little bit more creative control in a lot of aspects, which is cool. But definitely easier to monetize. But I think that has also enhanced my approaches, career, and I'm enjoying the challenge, I guess you could say, finding more creative ways to actually like make this thing sail. So
Do you
Yes,
have?
oh
Sorry, just like a few seconds delay in your voice.
no, I'm so sorry. I can get
Okay.
on my phone.
No, I can see you now. I can see it now.
Yeah.
Sometimes you start going fast like this, and then the sound will catch up to your mouth. Other times you would say something, don't know what you're saying, and then 2 seconds later, then you would be saying it, and you'd be just sitting there silently with your mouth closed, like someone over here was speaking or something. It's just the internet thing, but don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Kylie, anything else you want to add to that one? Oh, sorry, you're on mute.
But I forgot I was on mute, but everything's all good, Chris. You can go ahead. I forgot I was on mute. I
Yeah.
apologize.
All right. So what about social issues? Do you have any interest? Like, what about political issues or like I know during the pandemic, I saw like latex gloves and masks all over the ground. Like I couldn't believe it. There's like people made more mess. Can't you just put that stuff in the garbage? Masks here, latex gloves here is terrible. They just threw them on the ground.
Yeah, the pollution and like while the air pollution was better from everybody not driving, we definitely made a whole nother issue. But I definitely am very passionate about environmental stuff. I try to make sustainable merch as much as possible. Some of my merch offerings are not because of just from a cost standpoint, but I do make handmade jackets.
Nice.
And it's also another creative outlet that I found that it's very, very therapeutic. It's like very calming and meditative. But I also am like really passionate about equal human rights. Like there's no reason that not every single person on this planet should have access to food, water, health, care, and a place to lay their head. There's just no reason. There's plenty of money in the world. There's plenty of resources. Like that's my sentiments. Like I don't get too political. I always try to fight for the underdog because there's not enough being done.
Yeah.
True that.
Like you have a roof over your head, you have food, you're good. So
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Mhm.
but people like Greta Thunberg. I mean, like she 16 years old, and she one Friday, I think it's early 2021 or 2020, she left school, and she says something's got to be done. And then she became this worldwide activist. And the way Trump treated her, she was really upset about that. But do you think she was successful in what she did? Do you think that people don't care about this planet, that not even a little 16-year-old girl can do anything about it?
I believe we have a long ways to go still, especially so addicted to convenience. Like I'm guilty of it too. We have a long way to go. But I think that the work that she's doing is incredible. And I think that she is empowering her generation, especially to come forward. And once these younger generations get into power, I believe that there's going to be a lot more reform. Right now, we still have a lot of old ways of thinking in positions. We'll see. But yeah, it's tough.
Well, beside making jackets and writing music, is there anything else you like to do on the side that is non-music and non-cooking and non-fabric? And you like to walk, we know that. So
I love yoga. I love getting involved in my community, like however I can. Like I do work with a charity here called Lunches of Love. We have an Easter event that we're doing, and we are taking to neighborhoods here in Stone Mountain where I live, to lower income families who can't really access food during those spring break weeks because these kids, they go to school, they get their government lunch, and for those, that week or two that they're on spring break, these parents are like, how am I going to feed my kids? So we take them boxes of food, and we also are doing some face painting on next Monday for them, and it's a fun way to get more involved in my community, and it always just feels good to like get out and like do things like that. It's very,
That's
very
beautiful.
fulfilling.
That sounds excellent. That sounds very interesting. You're a very interesting person. It's nice to hear about all this interesting things. And see, I had something really good to say. Now I can't remember. Okay,
Get
so
long-winded.
we really. You wanted to add anything for the final thing, Kylie?
No, I think we covered everything. Honestly, like, I think we covered everything, Chris.
Chris, did you
Yeah.
have one more question? I'm sorry.
I did, but now I can't remember what it was. And it was. Oh yes, that's what I was going to ask. What is next for you?
Next up, I'm gonna be doing this trip to SoCal and doing these couple shows, and it's kind of like a next step towards like getting proper management and all that. So I'm very excited about that.
That's excellent. Love to hear that. Love to hear that you're keeping yourself busy. Well, Kylie, thank you very much for joining us today on the podcast. Thank you for being here, Nadia, and sharing with us your musical journey. And thank you, Kylie, for gracing us and co-hosting tonight. We really appreciate that. So we're going to end this stream. And do you have one final words to give to our audience? Maybe a motto or piece of advice for aspiring musicians out there?
Thank you so much for tuning in. And if there's anything that we can establish parting ways is just do the one thing that if there's something you're striving for in this life, wake up and just do one thing towards it. You don't have to race to any finish line. The dream is there for you to take, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. So much love. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We really
Good
appreciate
talking
it.
to you again, Nadia.
Thank you both.
Let's all do it once. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh no, it's like this. I was doing like this. Perfect. Love it. How fun. You're fun. It's amazing. Thank you very much. You're making us more comfortable with your presence. Okay, so everyone, we're going to end. Let's all dance. We're going to. Oh, what's that song? Hands, hands, hands.
I was with my hands over my
hands.
head. I was legit thinking about that song during the interview. I was like, boom. I really wanted to like dance out there in my head. The song gets in my head so much.
In my day, it was King Tut Tut King.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's funny.
So cute.
Okay, everyone, we are going. I'm sorry, Nadia, go ahead.
When I do a TikTok together.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, we're going to end this stream, everyone. Bye. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you, Chris.
You're very welcome, Nadia. Thank you, Kylie.
I think I wear it on my chest lately. Sometimes I wish it was in front of me. Wearing armor for a chase, try to give my head a rest, but it always gets the best of me. Here comes the paranoia, uncomfortably loyal. Got a tongue made out of cotton, and all I know's forgotten. Flirting with the stress, I guess I like them cold sweats. Head is like a mess, I'm sending out an SOS. Lying to myself, I guess I need some real help. I give myself the best critique. I think I'm falling for anxiety. My thoughts are on the run from me. Flirting with the stress, I guess I like them cold sweats. I like them cold sweats, sweat on me. On the outside, trying to keep it low key, but on the inside, I'm like, please hold me. Wearing armor for a dress, try to give my head a rest, but it always gets the best